Hi, I'm Nancy Murphy, and it's so good to be with you. I know many of you, and some of you I've never met, and I'm just grateful that you would take the time to watch our event and find out what we're all about, and maybe give or participate in some way. It's really an honor. I've been the executive director for 27 years and with Northwest Sunday Life for 30. It's time for me to pass the baton, and I'm so excited for you to meet Erika Gilbert. October 1st, she became our new executive director, and I get to be her sidekick, and I'm really excited to introduce her to you, to introduce her to the work and to the community. She is a like-minded woman. Her faith and her courage, her integrity, those are some of the qualities that she has that has really attracted me to her. I'm glad she's on board. But I want you to meet her yourself and find out for yourself. So please reach out to Erika Gilbert or to myself. We'd love to make a connection with you. So thank you for your faithfulness to us.
Thanks, Nancy. And thank you so much for joining us for Rising Hope. This is our annual fundraiser for Northwest Family Life and for Penny's Place. And it's an honor to be here with you. Thanks for checking this out. We had a goal of $150,000 for Nancy to dye her hair pink. And so she's going to do that. We now have a stretch goal to hit $200,000. So far, you're watching this now, and we've raised 170 of that. And so thank you so much for your generosity and your contribution. It's a huge success, so thank you so much. And in that stretch goal to hit 200,000 by the end of the year, that's really going to go towards our programs and our development for this coming year of 2022. So thank you. This means so much to us. This is our opportunity to provide hope and healing for those who have been faced with domestic violence, trafficking, trauma, and abuse. And so thank you for being that hope. Thanks for providing that healing. We so appreciate you, and thanks for joining us.
We're so glad that you're here for this wonderful evening, Rising Hope. What a great name for a great event, supporting a great work, supporting victims of domestic violence and trafficking. My name is Garrick Pang, and I'm your MC for this evening. MC sounds so official. Well, I guess I am wearing a tuxedo, so I guess I am kind of official, but I like to think of it being more of your guide or your traveling companion this evening, because we're going to go on a journey together. We're going to hear from some amazing people. We're going to hear some great stories of the work that's happening through Northwest Family Life and Penny's Place. We are so glad that you have joined us this evening. I do get the opportunity to MC at all different types of events, and I have to tell you, this is perhaps one of my favorite and most special events to be a part of. This group is a special and a unique group, because especially as we look at our world today, there's so much strife and division and all the politics and craziness of the world. And the thing that I'm so excited about for tonight is the fact that this cause is bringing together people from all different walks of life, all different spheres of influence, politics, religious backgrounds, denominations, and we're all gathered together for this amazing cause. And so, so glad that you're here this evening, and we're going to have a great time tonight. As we move forward this evening, I want to make a special introduction. I want to introduce to you someone that probably needs, of all the people that we'll see this evening, needs no introduction. This lady, I have known her for, I think, a couple of decades now, but Nancy Murphy has been the executive director of Northwest Family Life now for 27 years. And she has impacted the lives of so many people, including my own and friends and family members, people that we've known. And she is going to introduce someone very special, because something is taking place within the work of Northwest Family Life. And Nancy, I'll turn it over to you now, and you can share a little bit more about your heart and vision and some of the exciting things going on.
First of all, I just want to welcome you, right? Some of you are just coming in from a busy evening, or you've been out in the rain, and here we are with the welcome. And if you can see for a moment this beautiful lei that I was given, isn't that something else? It's a gift from Ofa Thea, from our shelter director, and she's just dressed me in a very meaningful way. She's from Tonga, her and her husband, and so this is a traditional regalia. I'm going to show you a little bit more how beautiful and how special it is. Can you see that?
Hey, Nancy,
regalia from their country. And then because she knows that First Nations people are close to my heart, she added that piece as well. And it's just beautiful. And I really want to thank you very much for the honor. It's especially significant to me tonight because there's some changes in my life, and to be honored in a traditional way with a traditional lei is extremely meaningful to me. So I also want to gratefully recognize and acknowledge that we're on the Duwamish land and the Coast Salish people, and I want to thank them. Some of you are having watch parties up north, and you're on the Upper Skagit Indian tribe land, and we are gathered on their unceded territory, and I just want to acknowledge that and thank them. Tonight, you're going to hear from some very special people, and I'm really glad that you get to hear from them. The team at Northwest Family Life is incredibly dedicated. They're dedicated to our mission to assist individuals that are facing the pain of domestic violence, trafficking, and related issues, especially issues around trauma. We are a group of staff, directors, advocates, domestic violence treatment providers, shelter workers, therapists, volunteers, and donors who are doing the work from a spectrum of faith beliefs. We all love the Creator God, and we all love the people and that He's created and the creation. I just think that I want to acknowledge that it's been a really tough season with COVID. COVID has created incredible issues for families, even highly functional families. Families in crisis have been really devastated. There's been mental health issues that have brought to the forefront during this season. We've had economic difficulties, political differences. There's just a lot of things, as you well know, all the impacts of this. So it's been isolation. And isolation, you know, a lot of my family is in Canada. I haven't been able to cross the border to be with them or see them. And that's been a heartbreak for me personally, and other people, some of that isolation all too well. Isolation has brought diminished hope in young people and in old. You know, we know of young people who are attempting suicide, who are depressed, who are scared, older people who are just, you know, less connected and alone. And so our event tonight is called Rising Hope. And we teach in our work various soothing practices. One of them is to guard our heart. There's something about the practice of putting our hands on our heart and keeping it there for a while and letting our heart soothe and letting our heart rest and our heartbeat come down to protect our heart. We as therapists, and most people at Northwest Family Life, we have the practice of guarding our heart. It's a soothing practice. We soothe our hearts sometimes by holding our hands. You know, we're taught when we're little kids sometimes to fold our hands to pray. And some of that is the function of just like calming down and becoming contained and to rest And sometimes we raise our hands as an act of surrender, right? We say, some people say, I'm over it. Other people say, I'm letting it go. Some people say, Lord, it's in your hands. One of the things that I'm excited about tonight is this, to me, is an event where we join hands, with each other, and we become softly connected to each other. Now, sometimes when I hold my husband's hands and he squeezes it really tight, that's not exactly fun, right? He's just thinking, or he just wants me to know he loves me a lot, but it kind of hurts. And so I'm suggesting that we join hands together in a soft way, in a way that we connect to each other. We connect to each other and we connect to other people who are in pain. And it's something about when we connect, when we join hands, our hope rises. My hope rises. I'm at a watch party tonight with old friends and family, and just being together, my hope rises. We are not alone. We are connected. And when we're connected, we're less isolated and our hope rises. And tonight, as we come together in your presence and with gifts, we feel connected, right? And our hope is rising. Erika Gilbert is thankfully accepted the position to be our new executive director. This is a night where we get to introduce her to you. And I'm just thinking that for some of you are concerned, like what's next for me? I want to say that I'm not breaking the link, like I'm not unhooking and leaving the work. I'm still here, and Erika's thankfully joining us and connecting with us, and she will step into the role of executive director and all that entails. I'm still here, you're still here. We've just got someone pretty dang amazing to join us. So with that, I just want to introduce you to Erika Gilbert.
Thank you, Nancy. It's an honor to be here with you all tonight. And I'm moved to see all the faces on the screens and to see new faces and people that I haven't necessarily even met yet. And just the opportunity to be part of this community and this organization is just really amazing. So thank you. And I just feel honored to be mentored and in collaboration with Nancy and the Northwest Family Life team. It really is just, it's extraordinary. So thank you, Nancy. And we're excited this evening to share hope and healing with you guys. The mission of Northwest Family Life is to reach out to those who have been had life traumas, abuse, domestic violence, trafficking. We want to provide hope and healing for those individuals who have faced those experiences in life. And so our fundraiser this evening, like Nancy was said, is just the opportunity to have hope rise through the roof, the opportunity to share joy and love and connection and community and family. And so we're just honored to have you be here with us this evening. Thank you for being here. Our organization is so multifaceted. You know, as I come in as the new person, I get to have brand new eyes to the magnitude of what we provide people and the impact that we have, not just in our immediate community, but on a global level, on an international level. And so I'm just so excited to be a part of this through advocacy and intervention and prevention, and then the opportunity to give people education to learn about all of the distinctions of what has abuse continue in homes and in families. And we're out to end that. We're out to complete the conversation of domestic violence, have no human ever be trafficked again in their lifetime. The mission and the vision is big, and you are a huge part of us doing that work. And so thank you. Just thank you for being here with us this evening. Thanks for letting me join this organization, this community. It really is a true honor. So I'm happy to be here with you all, and I hope to get to meet you each face-to-face individually. That is my hope, and I will make that happen. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Erika. Thank you, Nancy. It's no wonder that Northwest Family Life has grown the way it has and has impacted so many lives. When we think about Nancy and all that she has brought to the organization, and now the excitement of Erika joining the team. I've gotten to know Erika over these past few weeks as we've been planning tonight, and I will tell you, she is so different from Nancy, and yet she has just that same heart. And so I know that you will enjoy getting to know Erika as I have as well. I now have the privilege to introduce to you another amazing lady. There are just so many amazing people on this team. Ofa Vea is the on-site manager of Penny's Place. It's a role that she has served in over the past 3 years. She and her husband, Sosiah, live in that community with the residents, the women and children fleeing domestic violence and trafficking. They go out of their way to care for them and make Penny's Place a safe home for them all. So please welcome Ofa Vea.
Malo Alpito Kere. Malo Lele to everyone.
Just look in the camera.
Oh, okay. Move away from the microphone? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm all the way from Tonga. I brought 2 boxes of Kleenex. I already cried all night, but just in case I have a little leftover tears, so I brought my own Kleenex. At Penny's Place, we, my husband and Sosiah Vea, are servant to the Lord. I feel fortunate to serve as the on-site manager of Penny's Place. I get messages of gratitude from the women and the children at Penny's Place. I will read an example of one of the letters from the many letters from the women. But before I read the letter, I need to ask you guys for forgiveness. If I cry, you can tell me to leave, or you can cry with me. It's kind of hard for me to read this letter, but I was paid $500 just to read this letter. June 2020. To whom it may concern, when you think of feeling safe from someone or something, there's no an ideal situation. All that runs through my mind is how to disappear so my abuser doesn't find me. My story started out those exactly same thoughts. I wasn't seeking ideal. I wasn't seeking refugee. I reached out to 211, but I was turned away without any hope. I told myself no matter what I had to do, seek safety. I was going to do it. I was recently hired in my career field. I relocated my son to a safe house. So I wasn't going to do what would keep my family from picking up from 25 years of verbally abuse and recent physical abuse. If that meant for me to sleep on the park and the street, I was going to prevail. That's when Penny's Place came into my life. Ofa Crisis reaches out to me, looked me, took me, and fed me, and rehabbed my mental state so I could successful in life moments of a situation that looked bleak. The home of Penny's Place was provided a restful sleep, soft bed, and warm blankets and food to nourish my thoughts. Never once did she hesitate to help or turn her back on me. She made it sure that I knew what Penny's Place representing. It's a house of safety, security, and lifelong foundation to a personal new journey for all the women. Penny's Place provided a sense of belonging, joyful state within my day, but at work and when I returned back to the shelter. Whenever I walk into Penny's Place, I was greeted with a warm receptional and with food to eat. The women who lived there never once turned their back on me. They opened their personal life of who they were, so I feel loved and accepted. Penny's Place was a place for me as it was becoming for me. It helped me focus on becoming mentally strong, physical, capable of working towards the goals of becoming self-efficient for my family. Penny's Place isn't just a shelter, it's a home for me. With the women's stories, it helped me to stay closer to the Lord. It shaped me for who I am today. I would like to thank the board members for taking a crazy woman like me and trusting me to work with your women at Penny's Place. I really appreciate you. I'm just a stranger passed along the side, and you took me to work with Penny's Place. It is such an honor and privilege to serve the abused and trafficked women and their children. I could not do it without all of you, all your help, and that's why I cry all night because I don't know how to thank you. So I cry all night, and I told Nancy, I don't know if I can do this because I will cry again. Your gifts of time, the clothes and quilts that you drove at Penny's Place with your smile, for putting the camera at Penny's Place. I feel loved. For your volunteer to clean up the yard last year when my husband cannot do it. For putting a new carpet in the house and the gutter. For your volunteering to cut the tree that fell on our roof last month. For your donation, for the wash machine and the dryers. For the church praying for us every week. For bringing trees and plants on Penny's yard. For putting screen doors and screen windows at Penny's Place. We feel blessed. Last minute call to change the lock on doors at Penny's Place. I really appreciate Jeff, poor guy. I owe him a lot. I call him and he show up in 2 minutes. For your travel long distance and bring food and help celebrate the women's birthday all the way from Tacoma. For your gift cards to buy Thanksgiving and Christmas food for our dinner. Thank you to the donors for keeping Christmas party every year. We have a donor who do that every year. For all the church's donation for the holidays. I don't know if I deserve this, But your donation bless us. For your donation for the baby shower that we had the new baby this year. Your financial support makes us a big difference. So many of us. Thank you to the all board members for putting up with me. Just don't tell Nancy. Thank you, Nancy, for always fixing my wrongdoing and always stand by me no matter what. I was illegal delivering a thank you note to one of the donors home. I forgot I wasn't in the islands, in the South Pacific Islander. I just show up on the door. So I was reminded we're in America. So don't worry, I won't show up on your door. I want to thank Erika for her support and your angel touch. And I'm looking forward to work with you. Thank you so much, Carol, for coming and your service to Penny's Place. I'd like to thank all my families from Northwest Family Life for their support and their love for Penny's Place. Please forgive me if I don't mention your name. I know I'm getting older than Nancy. There's no word that I can find in my heart to express my gratitude to all of you for your love and support. Thank you and thank you in Tongan language. I said, Malo Opito, as we thank you very, very much for all your support. People like you make the world the best world. Thank you for your service to our country, but mostly for the Lord. It's my privilege to introduce Heather Tuininga to you. I'm sorry I don't pronounce it right because I can't speak English. When Heather and husband and daughter gives the women and children, including Sosia and I, we were told the gifts are from Jesus. For 3 years, I always want to know who go all the way to heaven to bring the gift from Jesus. Last night, I found out who it was. So I cried and cried. Thank you, Heather, for your service. And can you tell Jesus in his place, say thank you? I was told that Heather never wants anyone to know that her gift to Penny's Place. Thank you, Heather, so much for your good example that you set for me. Malo Albito Heather and your family for representing Jesus. We are, however, honoring Heather tonight. Thank you, Heather, for your amazing generosity. Thank you to all of the donors. And God bless you all, and I love you all with all my heart. And thank you, thank you, thank you for all my heart, and I love you. Thank you.
Hi, this is the favorite part of my evening, actually, the opportunity to honor someone with a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's easy this year to think of you, Heather, as our recipient. It's just her life sparkles and has brought me so much joy during these COVID times. At times when we've needed funding or we've needed support or I've had questions or a heavy heart, I've turned to Heather. And she has directed a good number of people to our organization. It's helped immensely in us growing our advocacy program this year. It's helped buoy our spirits. Nicole, our development director, is over the moon that you spent time with her. You've really mentored her. You've been such a good friend. I just want to introduce you to our community here. Heather is a woman who brings joy wherever she goes. You have a commitment to Christ that is really evident. You have integrity. I remember when you served on the board a number of years ago, I was so excited, and I think we probably weren't the board of your dreams, but you were a dream board member for us. And you kind of like cracked the whip and taught me how to grow an organization to be more orderly, more, what's the word? It's a kind word.
Systematic?
No, systematic, I'm still not there. I've had to hire other people to do that, but more purposeful. Rather than just saying, okay, Lord, what do you want to do today? You help grow my vision to Lord. What do you want us to do globally? And I really want to thank you for that. So, I have a gift for you, and I'm so kind of nervous about this because during COVID I started painting with a little bit of watercolor. Wow. And I never did it as a kid, so this is a brand new thing for me, but I painted this picture of a forest with the fog here, and then here's this beautiful, sparkly, full blossomed, front and center golden tree. You have brought me out of the fog into the light. Your gifts have brought people out of the fog into the light. Your lifestyle, who you are, draws people into the light. And I just really want to thank you for all you've done for Northwest Family Life and Penny's Place, me personally. So congratulations. This award is yours. It says a woman who makes a difference, and that's you. Thank you. I love you. I love you. Aren't you happy to meet her?
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll show it to all of you. Can you see that? Gold sparkly tree in front.
Ta-da! Yeah.
Nancy painted that.
So Heather, why would you get involved with Northwest Family Life?
I got involved in Northwest Family Life because my mom had a heart for women who've been abused in her community, and she spent a lot of time and effort building a safe home for them and rallying the community around those women so that they would be supported. And it taught me a lot as a young person. She went to be with the Lord a couple decades ago.
I'm sorry.
And the Lord, I think, nudged me during that time to carry on that part of her legacy. So eventually got involved with Northwest Family Life. What you said about my time on the board was kind. I was a bit of a whip cracker. I think I was the youngest one, and I'm super type A, so I was like, we got to have meetings that end on time. And Nancy taught me a lot about grace during that time, as did the other board members. They had a lot of grace for me. So it was an honor to serve. It's an honor to tell others about what happens at Northwest Family Life. Like, it's not just the women who get cared for. The fact that there's batterers treatment and then you serve the kids. I think of it always as the three-legged stool, right? This is how we end abuse. Yeah. We stop the cycle of abuse by working with the batterers, helping the kids to get free and healing so they don't become abusers, and then helping the women to get healing as well. And so I love what you're doing. You have carried the torch for a long time, long obedience in the same direction. And so I'm honored to be your friend. I'm honored to be a big fan of Northwest Family Life, and I'm really honored to receive, I feel a little humbled by receiving this award. And your beautiful painting. Wow. Thank you so much.
A long obedience, you called it, in the right direction. Yeah, I hope that this kind of depicts that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I have some other women that I'd like to join us today because they're sacred sisters. Rita Newsley and Nancy Nelson, if you can come here. Rita is the spiritual director from our 4 Soul Formation. Nancy Nelson is in charge of donor relations for Warm Beach Camp. We've been friends for a number of years, and we call ourselves Sacred Sisters, sacred friends. And in honor of you, Heather, I thought that they would be the best people ever to come and say a few words. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nancy.
Well, Heather, I'm so glad that 10 years ago you were looking for older women.
Older?
Well, I really qualified, much more than the other ones. But what a privilege to walk alongside, journey together. And Heather, you've been one of my mentors for the younger generation. Every generation has their leaders, and they lead some the same ways, but differently depending on the generation. And what an opportunity to be mentored. I'm serious, because then, I work with younger leaders as well. And what an honor to walk alongside. One of the things I can say about you is you're one of the most generous people that I know. And you live what you teach and preach. And you've been generous to me personally, to my family, and then I watch how you're generous to so many other people. And I can't say enough, and I'm so glad. And then the fun of watching you become a mom, and we can text each other, and I know you'll be praying for me. Anything that I'm going to teach or write about, I check it out with you because I want your opinion. And you just delight in every area of life. So
Thank you. Nancy, thank you. So honoring. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you. Rita.
They added me because they needed someone whose name wasn't Nancy. And I had to think about which of the many, many things that I would have loved to say to you, Heather, and to you who are seeing her receive this award, because there was so much. It took a little while. So the things that really matter to me is your ability to see need and to meet it. And you do that personally. And now you and Eric do it, and now your little daughter is doing it. And you do it so well. And we didn't mention this, but I need to mention that Heather started an organization called 1010 Strategies, and not only does she know how to give, she teaches others how to use their money wisely to transform our world. And that's what you've been doing for Northwest Family Life personally, but also helping others to know how they can transform lives. And it's really all over the world. So I want to name that. And then I want to name that you're a woman who abides in God, who loves the Lord so much and desires for God's grace to pour into you as you worship, and then to pour out to others. And I've watched that happen and been so blessed by it personally. My organization, when I was at New Horizons, was blessed that. And then all the people that I get to walk beside have been blessed by that. So I want to say that I can't think of anyone more suitable to receive this lifetime award.
Thank you.
And I wanted to finish the presentation by reading a blessing over you and then praying for you. And it's interesting because Nancy painted a picture out of the fog and into the light, and that's what you do for the women and for the people that Northwest Family Life serves. And the blessing I chose for you is called Blessed Are You Who Bear the Light. And Nancy and I didn't work this out. Holy Spirit did. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to pray over you, okay? Blessed are you, Heather, who bear the light in unbearable times, who testify to its endurance amid the unendurable, who bear witness to its persistence when everything seems in shadow and grief. Blessed are you, Heather, in whom the light lives, in whom the brightness blazes, your heart a chapel, an altar where in the deepest night, and I've watched this, in the deepest night can be seen a fire that shines forth from you. A fire that shows an unaccountable faith, a stubborn hope, in love that illumines every broken thing it finds.
Amen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lord, this blessing is based on absolute truth. It's been our experience of this woman of God. And we want today to thank you, God, for your Holy Spirit's presence that pours out of Heather. And we ask that the people that are here with us would see the light that shines from her, that clears away the fog, and they would be a part of this ministry, Northwest Family Life, that brings people out of the fog and into the light, that brings people out from pain into places of hope. So we thank you so much for the opportunity to speak these words of delight and honor over Heather, and to celebrate the power of your Trinity in changing people's lives. We love you, God, and we're deeply grateful to be a part of this community of sisterhood and brotherhood, the blessed community. In thy precious name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
so I
you.
want
Wow.
all of you to see, like, our community, how much we appreciate Heather. I know many of you will appreciate Heather as she gets this award today. Will you think about the people in your life who have really made a difference in your life, or for us, or in your community, for your children, your marriages? And will you thank them for the impact that they've made on you? Because we can't do this work without each other. We don't live our lives with each other. We are connected. We're sacred friends. You have sacred friends, and if you don't, give us a call. Maybe you can join our circle. Yeah. Thank you. You're beloved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's a well-deserved honor for Heather, for being such a generous and an influential person. In addition to everything you heard about Heather, she runs her own consulting business, 1010 Strategies, and she serves on the board for the National Christian Foundation. She's actually currently at another event, but she has graciously taken some time out of her busy schedule to join us here tonight. So without further ado, Heather, we'd love to hear a few words from you.
Hi, friends. So good to be with you guys. I just realized I'm wearing the same outfit as the day that Nancy and I filmed that award thing. So it looks like we just did it like just a minute ago. And here we are, I'm the same. That's a blessing. Super grateful for this incredible award. When Nancy called me several months ago to tell me that Northwest Family Life wanted to honor me this year, I was blown away. Nancy Murphy is one of my top 5 people on the planet. That's why I think people should pay $1,200 to have lunch with her, because she's amazing. And when I think of that, someone like her would honor someone like me, it's really hard to fathom. So I'm super humbled and I'm super grateful. And I'm grateful for each of you. You showed up tonight. My friend Bill Gates Sr. used to say that 90% of life is just showing up, and you have. And not only did you show up for this fun event, Garrick's making it fun left and right, I love it, but many of you have been showing up for years to serve Northwest Family Life and the women and children and men they serve. I've seen several on the call tonight, former board members that I got to serve with. It's really amazing. I think especially of Vivian Burnett, who's watching right now on Bainbridge Island. Wish I was with you. She and her late husband, Bill, have been showing up for Northwest Family Life for over 2 decades. And I got the pleasure of serving on the board with them about 15 years ago. And they taught me a lot about why Northwest Family Life is the premier agency fighting domestic violence in the Northwest. Did you know that Northwest Family Life is nipping domestic violence in the bud from all angles? Not only did they bring healing to victims who've been abused, they also serve their children. I mentioned this in the little talk with Nancy, but I want to go a teeny bit deeper. So we're serving those who've been abused, but also these kids. And some of these children haven't been abused, but they've observed abuse in their home. So it kind of seems normal to them. And Northwest Family Life sits with those kids and mentors the youth, the young people, which you're going to hear about more later, and helps them discover that abuse is not normal. So the kids don't end up becoming abusers simply because of the trauma that they witnessed as kids. It's so cool. It's so beautiful to wrap around an entire family. But Northwest Family Life doesn't stop there. They also serve the batterers. And that work is controversial because if you're like me, in my heart of hearts, none of us wants the bad guys to get helped. But research has shown that if perpetrators don't get help, the cycle of violence continues. So Northwest Family Life's work with batterers is essential in breaking the cycle of violence, which we all want in our heart of hearts. I like to think of it as the 3-legged stool of healing for the abused, the children, and the batterers. And this method that Northwest Family Life's been doing forever has been moving the needle against domestic violence for decades. And I'm super grateful to be here tonight to learn more and to support the important work. And I'm glad you're here too. Thanks for showing up. So lastly, before I introduce my friend Bob Goff, I want to thank Ofa and her team at Penny's Place. I'm going to introduce Bob as like the headliner, but I think Ofa took the show. Oh my gosh. I just want to hug her for a really long time. I wanted to hug her a long time, but I didn't want her to know it was me. So I didn't come hug her, but I'm gonna now, Ofa. Ofa and her team at Penny's Place are doing the Lord's work every day. I've been working in the anti-trafficking space for almost 2 decades, and the healing that happens at Penny's Place for those who've been abused and trafficked, it's nothing short of miraculous. The way Ofa and her team lean into God to do his work and his healing and his redemption is really special. And the women and children come out whole again. The work is super hard, but is beauty from ashes every day at Penny's Place. My husband and I love the redeeming work that happens there, which is another reason why we choose to support Northwest Family Life. And we hope you'll join us in that tonight. Okay, now for the main event. Well, the second main event. Ofa, I think, was the main event. Now the second main event. I'm excited to introduce to my friend, Bob Goff. Bob and I met a bunch of years ago, and we have a shared heart for the people of Uganda and for those who've been trafficked. He is a purveyor of joy, of whimsy. Bob's favorite 3 words are, what if we ... fill in the blank. He used to tell me he'd wake up in the middle of the night next to, he calls her Sweet Maria, his wife, and he'd be like, Maria, what if we ... fill in the blank? She's heard that phrase a lot in her life, I think. Anyway, he is a whimsical guy. He loves to leak Jesus on people, especially when they don't know what's happening. So I know you'll enjoy hearing from him tonight. Thanks.
Hey everybody, it's Bob Goff here, and I'm so delighted to be with Northwest Family Life and the celebration tonight. Thanks so much, first of all, for all of the donors who are making this possible, the lives that you're impacting through support for people that are victims of domestic violence, your efforts to combat trafficking in people, and all of the counselors that you make available, the resources that you make available to impact lives. Here's the coolest part. You know what? Those of you that are making this possible, the people that are receiving the help won't even know your name. Isn't that awesome? And what the scriptures say is that if we make a big deal about what we're doing, we get a little golf clap here. But if God is the only one that knows what's happening in, you get to talk to him about it for eternity. And you guys are going to have some stuff to talk about. That's probably why eternity takes so long. You know what happens is that we lose our way. It happens to me all the time. It happens to my wife all the time. We use one of these apps on the phone where you have a voice talking to you in a British accent. And the two of us, Sweet Maria and I, we were driving back from LA, and we got to this intersection, and hers said turn right and mine said turn left. And I'm like, wait, what? And you know, it turned out we had different destinations. We had plugged in one destination I thought we were going to. She had plugged in another one thought she was going to. People get confused all the time. And at a time where someone's at a crossroad, particularly if they've been a victim of some of the awful things that can happen in life, what they need is a voice they can trust. And that's what you do. You provide voices you can trust. I think there's people that you're going to honor tonight that are actually voices that I trust a lot in my life. I know some of the things that have been pivotal to me is when I started seeing the suffering of other people, and it didn't feel like it was someone else's child that was the victim of this. It felt like it was my child who had actually been in India when we started doing some anti-trafficking work. It was probably 22 years ago, and we rushed into a red light area to find some people that were doing some awful things to young people. And actually, many of these young girls got released. But one of them, when we got in front of the court released her to her parents. And the parents are the ones that sold her in. And I'm like, no. And so we traveled about 200 miles to find where she was. They just sold her back to the same brothel owner, to the same place. It didn't feel like someone else's kid. It felt like my kid. And we rushed back in there to find her again. And when we did, we got this little girl, and this crowd started gathering. First 100 people, then 200, 300 bad guys. And we got stoned. Not like high school version. We literally just all these rocks. every window in the car blew out. We ended up in the hospital and then they threw us in jail. I had so many alternate endings to that evening, and that was not one of them. Here's the deal. Jumping into the kinds of things that Northwest is doing is messy business. But you're making it possible for people to make courageous steps. I want you to continue to do that. Continue to do those things, even in your own life. Make those bold moves that feel a little bit scary, but you know what? You're going to do it anyway. You know the direction that you're heading. You're heading towards heaven's gates. We want to populate heaven with people who meet people like you, and they've actually met Jesus when they do. You make it possible by acts, not of just of generosity, but by showing up in somebody's life in inexplicable ways, in special ways that only God will understand later, how they could connect a need and you to make it possible. I've sailed to Hawaii a couple times, and it turns out there's a difference between true north and magnetic north. I didn't know the difference the first time, but I'm telling you, it's a small amount of degrees separating the two, but you'll miss the entire island chain if you get it wrong. What I want us to do in our lives is focus on things that are true, not just the magnetic things. What's magnetic is all the controversies of today, all of the, whatever political issues or societal issues that are going on. What's true is that there's men and women in desperate need. And I want us to continue to focus on that, steer a course towards that. And you get to Hawaii, not by making one point in Long Beach and the other point on Diamond Head, but you have waypoints along the way. A long way to sail in a day is 400 miles. 24 hours at about the speed of a fast sailboat is 400 miles. And so what I do is I try to go from waypoint to waypoint. We steer from one to the next to the next. I want the waypoints in your life to be chunks of time, chunks of energy, chunks of ambitions. What Northwest is doing is there are safe houses, there are places that offer counseling to these people. These are waypoints along the way towards someone's healing. These are things that are true, and we want to continue to make that possible in their lives. And don't make it just something you're doing for them. Make it something you're doing for yours. It's Galatians 5:6, and it says this: the only thing that matters is your faith expressed in love. Boy, expressing your love can happen in a bunch of ways. It can be pulling over for somebody on the side of the road with a tire that's flat. It can be expressed in you standing up, men, when a woman walks in the room, just expressing your faith in love. We'll never honor God if we don't honor each other. What a great way to honor people that are suffering some of the horrific setbacks and headwinds that domestic violence has sent their way by you rising up together. It says in 2 Peter 1:3 that God has given us everything that we need to lead godly lives. There was a kind of a spoof on that movie Castaway. And remember, Tom Hanks gets, deserted on this island, and all he has ice skating. He's opened up coconuts with it. And he's just trying to make do with what he has as he opens up all the packages. But remember, there was one package that he didn't open. It had a pair of wings on it. And he was going to be, the penultimate FedEx guy and deliver that package. It represented his hope that he was going to get off the island. And you know how the story goes. He gets rescued and he delivers the package and the credits roll. Well, FedEx did a little bit of a spoof on that. And they had, I think it may have been a Super Bowl a couple years ago. And they had a FedEx guy that looked like Tom Hanks with a beard and all that to show up and deliver the package. And she's like, wow, thanks so much. And he's turning it away. And as an afterthought, he turns and says, hey, what was in the package anyway? And she opens it up and she says, well, not much, just a satellite phone, seeds, a GPS locator, water maker. She's like, oh my gosh. God has given not only you, but the victims of domestic violence, the victims of trafficking, everything they need to lead godly lives. And you know what he's given them? You. What he's done is he's made it possible to put you in the package. We just got to get you out of the package. What we want to do is to continue to celebrate. God takes all of our ambitions and our titles and all the honors that we get. He just makes confetti out of them to celebrate the poor, to celebrate the hurting. And if following Jesus doesn't lead me and you to hurting, lonely, isolated, victimized people, we're not following Jesus. And so what I want him to do is to continue to have you follow him right to their feet, right to the feet of the poor, the hurting, the lonely, the isolated. And we don't always get this thing right. If you've seen the statue of the David in Florence, there he is, 15 feet tall. You know the story, Michelangelo chipped him out of a discarded piece of marble. Actually, Michelangelo was the third guy that took a swing at that thing. And then when he was all done, there he is, 15 feet tall in all of his glory. The brother could use a tunic. But you know what? David was chiseled 2 degrees out of center. Is that crazy? It worked fine for the first 550 years. You know what's happening right now? His ankles are breaking. And what happens in my faith, maybe it's happening in yours, is we just get a little bit out of focus, a little bit skewed to the side. And you know what God uses to pull us back? The poor, the victimized, the isolated, the lonely, the victims of some of the things that Northwest is making possible to correct. And let that happen in your life, that you true up your life. You know the difference between what's magnetic and what's really true by the way that we engage the people around us, that we engage them, the hurting. We give them our very best. I went to Saudi Arabia. There was a sheikh that called up and he said, will you start a school here? I'm like, start your own school. But he said, do you want to come to my palace? I'm like, yes. So I flew there and I get off the plane. He has some guy pick me up. He has like the whole ceremonial sword and everything. And we drive to his palace, and inside the palace, we walk down and he makes a latte for me. And he makes a picture of his palace in the foam. I'm like, buddy, you are so insecure. And then he took a tablespoon of 14 karat gold and he put it on the top of the latte. You thought you were paying a lot at Starbucks. And he said, if you drink the gold, it'll make you look young again. I'm like, liar. But here's the deal. What if we give the hurting our very best? What if we give them more than a tablespoon of our very best? What if we give them buckets full? I think that's what you've been doing as donors. And I want to thank you for continuing to do this, because I think when people meet someone that you made possible to counsel them in a moment, in a time of trauma, they actually meet Jesus. And this is actually a way for you to live out Matthew 25. I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger. I felt like all alone and you invited me in. I was sick and he comforted me. I was naked and he clothed me. I was in jail and he came. Whether you think of this jail as this kind of confinement in this domestic relationship that has gone way wrong, whether you think of that hunger for something more than just a cheeseburger, but to actually be met, to be just understood, the thirst that they have to perhaps hear a gospel message from somebody that you made possible to do this. He said, if you meet them, you meet me. And we sometimes are looking for Jesus in all the wrong places. He literally said, this is not a treasure map. It's find them and you'll find me. And so I just want to thank you for what you're making possible, that people are finding Jesus. And when you make that possible, you find Jesus. That is some weird stuff in this reverse economy that Jesus said, you don't need to head for a steeple, head for the poor, head for the hurting, and that's where I'll be. And if you find them, you'll find me. You guys, thanks for what you're making possible. It's beautiful stuff. And I think when we do this, we meet them, we meet him, and we true ourselves up just about 2 degrees. We start finding ourselves in context of our life just a little bit better. We get our feet on the ground. We just know where we are, this situational awareness of what's going on around us, not just in front of us, but adjacent to us. And it's the people that God will put adjacent to you, the people that will allow within that circle around us, that are the ones that are going to be the highlight reel of your life and my life. These are going to be the things that we're going to remember. It won't be the comfort that we remember. It won't be the trip. It'll be swell, and we'll take a couple pictures of that vacation, but it'll be the time that we did something daring, something courageous, that we just actually reached for something more than we had attained already in our faith, and we reached towards the poor to do it. You guys, God bless you. Thank you. We honor those that you honor tonight. We celebrate with tons of confetti the lost and the lonely and the hurting that really found a new hope because you found them. Way to go.
Thank you so much, Bob, for that inspiring message, the inspiring and challenging message. And thank you too, Heather, for what you shared with us and all that you're doing to continue to make a difference. I have the opportunity now to introduce another member of the Northwest Family Life team. Nicole Kalbermatten serves as the Northwest Family Life Development Director. You've probably gotten letters or emails or a newsletter from her. And she also is instrumental in securing grants and that help fund some of the amazing services that Northwest Family Life offers. She brings also an international presence to the team because she is from Switzerland. And if you know anything about time zones, Switzerland, in Switzerland now, it's just after 4 a.m. And so rather than dragging her out of bed at 4 a.m., she put together a short little video for us just to thank you for some of the programs and services that we're able to provide thanks to your support.
Hi, I'm Nicole, our Development Director at Northwest Family Life. I want to thank you for being here with us tonight, for hearing the cries of the broken in spirit and coming to their aid. Your gifts become a lifeline that connect people affected by domestic violence and trafficking to vital resources. And my thanks to you is really personal. 12 years ago, I was on my own journey to safety from the impact of abuse, and I met Nancy in Northwest Family Life. And I can tell you that was one of the most pivotal times in my life as I was able to find safety, healing, learn about abuse and the cycles, and make really big changes to the way I navigated my own life. You know, domestic violence often has an intergenerational hold on families. And the good news is when one person finds healing and starts to make a new pattern, that change radiates down through the generations and out into society. I'm not with you live tonight because I live in Switzerland. I'm remarried to a kind and gentle Swiss man who's the father of my 3 children. And when I think about the fear and the danger that I once lived in versus the safety and goodness that I experience every day now, I can tell you that Northwest Family Life changed my life. And I also want to thank Heather for being with us tonight. I met Heather because of a mistake I made, and when I called her, she was so kind and gracious, and she had served on the board many years before, but she asked me about current programs at Northwest Family Life, and we chatted, and she has been so instrumental in funding many of our programs at Northwest Family Life. We offer counseling by more than 50 therapists throughout Washington State, foster care and adoption support, a state-certified batterers treatment program. We have our youth mentorship program for kids that have been affected by DV, and of course, Penny's Place, our safe house for women and their children fleeing domestic violence and trafficking. So I'm going to thank you all for being here and for the many ways that you change lives through your time, your prayers, the places you volunteer, and your financial gifts. We are so thankful. You all are heroes.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for that. And I now have the privilege to introduce to you Katya Wojcik. She's been an affiliate with Northwest Family Life since 2017. So for the past 4 years, she has been working alongside the great team at Northwest Family Life. And she is now the executive director of Project Be Free, That's an organization that shares Northwest Family Life's mission to provide crisis response to individuals affected by domestic violence. So please welcome Katya and Joelle Thomas, their community outreach manager, who are collaborating with Northwest Family Life to launch a new youth mentoring project.
Hi, Garrick.
Hi.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to try and keep it short and condensed. Hopefully this happens. I apologize if I become emotional. My journey coming to Northwest Family Life was like so many others, one that was difficult. In 2017, I was a graduate student at Seattle University. My apology. There was one day that I finally decided to stand up against my abuser and decide that it was my time to go. At that time, I was married to somebody, and I knew that I would no longer be able to stay. That day that my ex-husband got arrested, I reached out to a very important person, somebody that actually was the big catalyst in me getting connected to Northwest Family Life. Christy Bauman at that time was one of my professors at Seattle University. I felt safe with her and shared with her what was going on in my experience. She quickly connected me with Northwest Family Life, upon which I scanned their website and found my own therapist. A person that has continued to hold space for me. Just so happened that I kept trying to talk myself in and out of going to therapy, even though I was in school to be a therapist. And once surveying the website, I happened to stumble across my therapist, who happened to only be a block away from my home. Felt like this was a sign that I couldn't say no to. Since 2017, I have sat with this person, and she was a big piece of me wanting to become an affiliate of Northwest Family Life. She shared with me some of her own stories, many of which I resonated with and connected with. Fast forward, here we are in 2020. I've been an affiliate for a couple of years now. And in 2020, I found myself called to a deeper purpose. At that time, I was working for another nonprofit, and I kept coming into many instances in which families were seeking domestic violence resources, and they were hard to connect with them due to much of our resources going virtual or online. I knew within my own self that this was not ideal for many families. I know that through my own story, technology was often monitored and things were watched in order for me not to be able to, and as well as many of the people I've helped now seek out and get services. It just turns out that in 2020, I still had not met Nancy, even though I was part of this great organization. And I can still remember the phone call of when I decided to call Nancy. I was sitting in the parking lot in Bellevue at Wojcik, my favorite restaurants and grocery stores. And I looked through some emails of which she had sent out to us affiliates. And I just tend to scroll down and see her information there. And I say, oh, I'm going to cold call her and see if she'd be interested in perhaps facilitating and being a fiscal sponsor for my partner and I's nonprofit that we'd like to launch. And it turned out that I was thinking, she's never going to answer. I'm sure she's completely busy. I was wrong. She answered after a couple calls, and here I was ready to have a platform and sell my pitch, and I wasn't quite ready. But she extended herself to me and was excited about what we had in store, and has been a great mentor to us. We feel very fortunate, and she has turned much into more like family. Through this experience, I will say that I have also been able to be connected with so many people at Northwest Family Life that I just love to be able to text or message or reach out to, and people that can definitely, we can have some dark humor, you know, of course, because we hear so many dark stories, or just be able to hold space for one another and talk about barriers or tough times or difficult moods with clients we are hoping to help. This year was the first year that, of course, our organization, Project Be Free, has been in existence. We feel fortunate to be able to have a fiscal sponsor like Northwest Family that is so important. Although our missions are very much aligned in helping those that are affected by domestic violence, we are a little different, and we feel that that is really essential in being able to partner and to be able to aid in the community healing. Project Be Free is embarking on really amazing things that have been supported by Northwest Family Life. One of them is being a first responder to police officers here in King County, and really being able to go into people's homes and to talk to them and bring resources to them, especially during a difficult time like the pandemic. We hope to grow this and hope to be able to continue to work with Northwest Family Life. And it just so happened that Nancy allowed us to do that again by offering us a partnership in a youth mentorship program. This has been something that we are very excited to continue and has already been underway, and seems to be really resonating with a lot of our mentors and mentees that find excitement and joy in connecting. I will say that, you know, in 2017, I often found myself asking, how am I going to get out of the situation? And today, the answer no longer is, how am I going to get out of a situation? It's, when am I going to get into another situation in order to help heal others? Thank you.
I don't know how to follow that up. I just want to start with saying that I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I feel impacted in so many ways, but I just want to be as genuine as possible in saying that I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I grew up in a home that was impacted by domestic violence. And I always wanted to be strong enough to support my mother. I saw the impact on her, and I didn't want to burden her with my questions or my inadequacies, or and it weighed on me a lot, and I took it into my teenage years. And I was blessed to be able to make some mistakes and to live, to tell about it. And there's a lot of teenagers and young people that don't live to tell about their story. And I practice this, but I feel so fortunate to be able to speak up for the young person that's inside of me that's screaming out. And I prayed when I was little just to be able to talk to someone, to be able to express how I felt, to be able to have an example, to be able to tell my mother that it was okay. And I didn't have that space, so I prayed that I would grow into being that person. And Northwest Family Life has given me the opportunity to be that person. So I'm screaming out again. The young boy is screaming out because I started a youth mentor program and I need all the kids so that we can have a place to voice who we are and how we want to just be loved and appreciated and to voice our concerns for our future. We don't want to burden our parents because we understand they're going through a lot. It's tough to be the child of someone that's abused because you push your own feelings to the side. And there's a lot of young people that are growing up and not able to just be young. So fortunate enough to have an opportunity to have a program that the young people can be themselves. And I'm thankful.
Before we move on, I just really want to say thank you to Katya and to Joelle and to Nicole for sharing from such a deep place in your heart. So I guess we don't expect all that emotion to come out, but speaking from your heart is a challenge, and I just want to thank you. These are really people on the forefront that are making a difference. And so we are going to move on to the giving part, which is going to be fun for some of us. But I just, for those of you that are really touched, and some people are, can we practice some of those soothing things that guard your heart? Just touch, put your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath and let yourself breathe and let yourself feel the rising hope in Joel, that now he gets to be Coach Joel. He gets to be for little boys and teenagers and little girls what he so deeply longed for. And he gets to invite other people to be mentors and mentees. And there may be a good number of you on the call that would like to step in and help them with that project. You hear the newness in Katya. The question is different for her now. What am I going to do next? And I've got great plans for you, Katya. She's got a lot of plans for her own self. But anyways, thank you. And for those of you who've been moved, I just want to ask that the Lord would, that you would sense the presence of God in your life, that you would feel the tender touch of love, and that your hearts would be settled and centered. I tried to put that together into one word, but there's two separate words, that your hearts will be settled and that your hearts will be centered. And I really, really want to thank each of you. All right.
Thank you, Katya and Joel, for sharing your hearts with us. I want to share with you all that we have a goal this evening to hit $100,000 for this cause and for this mission. And so we are out to generate some generous hearts and donors who want to contribute to exactly what Katya and Joel were sharing of the mission of hope and healing for all those who have been impacted. So if we hit the $100,000 this evening, Nancy is going to dye her hair pink. Can you believe it? She's never dyed her hair once before, and she's got beautiful, beautiful white locks. And so they're going to turn pink tonight. I just know it. And so thank you in advance for your generous donations. And let's hit this 100K so we can see a pink-haired Nancy.
Well, and I heard that there's a stretch goal involving Erika as well. If we hit $150,000 on the stretch goal, then Erika is going to dye her hair as well. And
I'm willing.
You're going to dye it purple, I heard. Is that right?
Yes, I've been told that I'm getting purple and Nancy's getting pink. So I'm willing. If we hit 150 tonight, I will be purple haired. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? Just for fun, I'm just throw it out there. Okay. This is not Northwest Family Life doing this, but I'm going to do this. If we hit 200,000, I, who have never dyed my hair, will dye my hair purple as well. How's that? So I want to just add that little incentive to the mix for the stretch, reach for the moon goal of 200,000. But anyway, so to get there, as Heather shared earlier, from her quote from Bill Gates Sr., we're going to do the 10% part now. The 90% is showing up. And now here's the 10%. Here's the little extra bit that we all get to participate in. Joel and Katya, you raised a hand. Did you have something that you wanted to share? Yeah, Joel.
I want to get in. I want to get in on this purple hair.
Oh, all right. Okay.
You said 200. Okay. How about if we hit 250? I'll do my hair purple and green. One side green and one side purple. Because
I think you have to do it at 200 with me.
I'll do it with you. Let's do it at 200 then.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get to 200 tonight. And Joel and I will dye our hair. All right. Okay. So tonight, all total for this evening, our fundraiser brought in for Northwest Family Life and Penny's Place, $160,000, 296. Everybody unmute yourselves and give a cheer for that. $160,000, 296. Wow, wow, wow.
The hair.
Can we
The hair.
our video?
So the Northwest Family Life office has now become a more colorful place because Nancy and Nancy, you and Erika get to dye your hair, but all has not been said and done because Joel and I are still, it's just another 40,000 away, and so so we're hoping that, and I actually, as
so funny.
as Erika said about Nancy, I have also never dyed my hair. Although I have a few gray patches here starting to show up, but anyway, I would gladly dye my hair purple and be able to, when everyone says to me, why is your hair purple? And I'll say, because of Northwest Family Life, and be able to tell the story and tell of all of your generosity this evening and just the ways that you have really made a difference in the lives of these families who are trying to get free from domestic violence and human trafficking. Thank you so much for being here this evening. But I want to tell you, there's another way to give too, especially if you would like to give throughout the year, because the needs don't stop. And we have, through Northwest Family Life, the Community of Hope. That's the monthly donor program. And you can give at any level for the monthly Community of Hope program. But that makes such a difference because even a small amount goes a long ways. If you can only give $10 a month, that's $120 over that year. And remember, $100 can fund a month of advocacy for a survivor. If you give $50 a month, that's $600 over the year. So please consider becoming a Community of Hope monthly donor as well to support the work of Northwest Family Life and Penny's Place. So thank you so much and appreciate your generosity. And please consider joining the Community of Hope. On behalf of the team, I just want to officially close the program tonight and thank you, and God bless you. And God bless the work of Northwest Family Life and Penny's Place, and as well as Project Be Free. We are so glad that you joined this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us tonight. And hope that you had fun and enjoyed and were encouraged by the stories and challenged as well. Please remember to keep this work in your prayers and your thoughts. And I hope that you have a wonderful evening and a great rest of your weekend. Thank you very much and good night.